You think you know vampires, Dracula, castles, capes, fiction. But in 1991, in Prague, archaeologists opened a grave. Inside, a man. His skull had been removed and placed between his legs. His ribs were broken, and across his neck, a rusty sickle. Why? To stop him from rising, to keep his heart from beating again. This was not a story. This was a real burial from the 14th century. Welcome to the Forgotten File. Today, the real Vampire of Prague. No Hollywood, just bones. The grave was found in the courtyard of Prague Castle, the largest ancient castle in the world. Not in a remote village, right in the heart of power. The skeleton was a man, about 40 to 50 years old. He was buried in a standard Christian grave, but with one difference. His skull had been cut off after death, then placed between his legs. His chest cavity was filled with heavy stones, and a sharpened sickle lay across his throat, blade facing outward. Archaeologists knew immediately this was an anti-vampire burial. In medieval Slavic tradition, a sickle across the neck would decapitate the corpse if it tried to rise. The stones pinned the heart down, and the separated skull? That was the final insult. They didn't want him to see, to speak, to return. Here is the mystery. Most anti-vampire burials happened during epidemics. People believed that the undead spread disease by leaving their graves at night. But this man died around 1350, the peak of the Black Death in Prague. The plague killed half the city. But his bones showed no signs of plague. He died healthy. So why the extreme ritual? One theory, he was an outsider, a foreign merchant or a knight who committed a terrible crime. Another theory, he suffered from a condition called porphyria, which makes you sensitive to sunlight, receding gums that look like fangs, and reddish urine that might be mistaken for drinking blood. In the 14th century, that man would have been a monster. Today, we call him a patient. Archaeologists found 3 clues. First, his teeth were unusually worn from chewing leather. That suggests he was a saddler or a soldier who bit leather straps. Second, his right arm was stronger than his left, a swordsman. Third, his shins had healed fractures from riding horses. He was likely a mercenary, a foreign fighter hired to defend Prague. But he died suddenly. No battle wounds, no plague. Some say he was executed for murder. Others say he simply collapsed, and locals already believed he was a vampire before death. Here is the creepiest clue. The grave was reopened about 10 years after burial. Someone added more stones, meaning even after death, people were still afraid. Today, you can visit the spot. It's in the courtyard of Prague Castle, near the old royal palace. There's a small plaque. Most tourists walk right past it. But locals know. Some leave coins, others leave garlic. One guide told me that every few years, someone tries to dig at night. The police always catch them. But in 2015, a small hole appeared. No one knows who dug it. The guards filled it the next morning. I'm not saying the vampire is real. I'm saying someone believed it enough to dig. A skeleton with a brick in its mouth, Venice, Italy. A decapitated body with skull between legs, Poland. A grave with a stake through the heart, Bulgaria. Prague is not alone. Europe is full of real vampire burials. In Venice, a 16th century woman had a brick forced into her mouth to stop her feeding on plague victims. In Poland, at least 20 skeletons have sickles across their throats. In Bulgaria, a man was staked through the chest 800 years before Dracula was written. The difference? Prague's vampire is in the most famous castle in the world, and his skeleton is still stored in a museum basement. Some say you can request to see it. I called. They said no. The forgotten file closes for today, but the Vampire of Prague is still in a box.